Greater Good Radio. Connect, learn, heal, and grow.
There's only two that I actually kicked out. One was a boy who was 10 years old, I think, at the time, and his dad trained with us. And it had nothing to do with him being a bad kid, but he was what we call a know-it-all. And he wanted to be the center of attention. And he was my student for like 4 years. I put up with him for 4 years, because a teacher is only as good as their worst student, right? Because, we got to learn patience. Anybody can teach somebody who's good. But teaching those ones that are challenging, that's what tells you what you are. So I always kept him in because I felt like he was my challenge. And every class never failed. He would always yell out like, blah, 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 and always trying to get everybody's attention and always making jokes and trying to be the center of attention and always acting like he knew everything and everything he said was wrong. It's like those, when you go to an MMA fight and guys are yelling, armbar, armbar, and the guy's nowhere near an armbar, but they want to sound like they know what they're talking about, right? That's the kind of kid this was. And he constantly disrupted the class. It was the worst class. It was my preteen class. The worst class because they all got involved and caught up in his energy. And that's where I say one person can really be cancerous to a class. They wouldn't listen. They were playing all the time. They were talking all the time. They wouldn't pay attention. And he was the lead cause of this. And after 4 years, I said, you know what? I'm sorry. And the worst was when we were at a tournament. And that was the final straw, him and his dad both. I was coaching one of the kids, and he stood right next to me and yelling over me, trying to coach them when he didn't know what he was talking about. And he was 10 years old. And then his dad started complaining to everybody because his kid was waiting too long for the tournament. I said, this is how it works. You got to be patient. You're representing our school. Do not go cause problems and embarrass us. But he went in and complained, and, so finally I had them leave. But, when he left, a week later, that became my best class. Within a week, the best class. They listened, they focused, they were all on it, and they were just, I was shocked. And that really proved to me one person really can ruin the whole bunch, And so it was never a decision I regretted, So that was one. The other one was a couple of kids, and this is another story. I'm sure every school has this story, same as the know-it-all. It's where the parent lives through the child. So I had a parent who was over 400 pounds, would literally bring his own chair in. He was a prison guard. Bring his chair in and sit there and watch his kids. One kid was very skinny and small. He was about 10 years old. And his sister was 13. She was over 200 pounds. And he had them in CrossFit, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, football, like everything that I'm sure he would have wanted to do. He wanted his kid to be a world champion. He had him in everything.
The daughter was in football too?
No. But they were in the son. The son was his thing.
How big was the son?
The son was like a skinny little kid.
Oh.
He was like just small and skinny.
But the sister was big.
The sister was big, just like the dad. And he was training, I guess, the son to be star hero, get scholarships, who knows what it was. But he would come in and he would yell at them. He would tell them, I don't care who you hurt in here, as long as you don't hurt your sister. One time they were playing before Matt started. The sister and him were fooling around before class started. And the sister accidentally hurt the son. He took her in the bathroom. Everybody heard him yelling at her and hear smack. And then she came out crying. And we have tournaments. He would tell the kids, I don't care who you hurt in here. You better not hurt your son. And he says, if you lose, you're going to go home and get licking. That's how he was. And the last straw was when he came on the mat telling his son how to do something I just taught. I finally said, okay, I'm going to be respectful. I know you can't tell a parent how to parent. So when it came to sparring, I literally put his son and his daughter because they kept hurting everybody. Not so much the daughter. She was more mindful, but the son.
Physically hurting them?
Physically hurting them when they trained. They would do dirty stuff. They would do anything to hurt you to win. They would drive up the middle of your legs and hurt you between your legs. They would smash you, and they didn't care because the dad wanted that. The parents were not. They were upset. Mm-hmm. And they would, I would have to always, so I finally said, okay, we're going to teach you a lesson. I put the son and the daughter together and made them partner. And I wouldn't coach them at all. I would coach everybody but them. So the dad finally lifted up his chair and he goes, come on, kids, we're going. I says, where are you going? He says, we're going. You're not coaching my kids. I says, why should I coach your kids? You're coaching them. And he goes, well, we're going. I says, you walk out that door, you don't ever come back. And he says, well, you're not coaching my kids. I says, well, you think you know everything. You're not letting me coach them. So I'm going to put them together so they don't hurt anybody else. And then I can coach them because they're listening to me. And I went on, and all the parents are watching. And they thought Daynin's so soft. She's a girl. But when you go too far with me, the Daynin, the Nanakuli Daynin comes out. And I says, walk down there. I go, walk out that door. You go on. And so he's standing at the door for a long time, like challenging me. He wanted me to pull him back. I says, go, walk out. You're done. And so he says, I'm gone. And he walks out. He goes, come on, kids. And the kids walk past me. I says, you two did nothing wrong. This is on your dad. You guys do nothing wrong. So, and they left. I never saw them. And then I went to other schools and they did the same thing. They got kicked out everywhere they went. So those were my two experiences with my school. I mean, I put up with a lot because I figure as a teacher, I'm supposed to be able to make them better, right? Like I said, you're only as good as your worst student.
If you resonate with Greater Good Radio, please join our community at www.greatergoodradio.com, where you can get access to exclusive content and offerings. Hope to see you soon.